Hi guys, I thought for today's video I would do a podcast about book recommendations. Now of course, no book is really a substitute for actually going to a mental health professional and getting the proper treatment that you need, but books are a good place to start. So what I've done, I've opened the Kindle app on my computer and I've decided to have a look through and just give you a few quick recommendations about what to buy. So the first up, and in my mind the most important, would be a book by Sally Winston called Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts. Now I've recommended this book on other videos that I've done, and I cannot speak highly enough about this book. The two authors deserve a medal, because there's exposures in this book, and I know self-directed exposure isn't always the way to go, but the exposures are there, if you want them. Some of which I've actually implemented into my channel. And if you go to my golden exposures, you'll find some of, they were outtakes basically from Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts. But I do recommend you buy and read the book in its entirety. Okay? So that is the first and the best, I would say, to buy. Right. Next up, I've been reading a book recently called Brain Lock. This is a book by Jeffrey M. Schwartz. And he has his own way of dealing with OCD. And I've covered this in my last two videos, actually. So I'm really impressed by Brain Lock. I really think it's a great book, and I think the more you can educate yourself on OCD, the better for you. But reading the books, any book, just reading the books is not always, it's not going to guarantee that you get better. You've got to apply what's in the books. Reading them is all very well, but you have to apply what's in the books. So Brain Lock is a very, very it's a good one. Right, next up is Everyday Mindfulness for OCD. Now this book is by a guy called John HERSHFIELD, and I've spoken about mindfulness in a few videos that I've done, and he himself has got exposures in this book. One exposure actually that stands out in my mind in Everyday Mindfulness for OCD is about an in vivo exposure. And this is basically, I think he mentions like going to a shopping mall or something like that. And, just allowing your intrusive thoughts to come into your mind. And in the case of HOCD guys, you might have flashing images or thoughts about doing this or doing that with another guy or with another girl if you're a girl. And you basically allow the thoughts to come in when there are people around. And that becomes an exposure. And you let it go for so long and whatnot. So I really do recommend you buy that one too, okay? So I have to say the book I enjoyed most, and I've read quite a few, the book I enjoyed most would have been Chrissie Hodges' book, which is called Pure OCD. It's got a black cover. Any of these books you can buy on Kindle on Amazon, and you straight away. What I like about Chrissie's book was she takes you on a journey of her life, from the time she was a kid. And, just like any book that you read with the story, you're looking through her eyes, You're feeling what she's feeling. And, you know, the importance of this book, at least for me, was there was a lot of aha moments in the book. And it's a book that really, really, really makes you realize that you are not alone. You are not alone. And then other people go through what you were going through. And she actually, I'm not going to give any spoilers away because I want you to buy her book. Okay? But towards the end, she don't give exposures away, but she tells you how she dealt with some irrational fears that she had. And there's one thing she did say in the book was there was a time when she had stopped taking her medication. And she got worse, progressively worse as the weeks went by. And I think a friend of hers, if I'm remembering the story correctly, I think confronted her, why aren't you, where's your medication? Or why aren't you taking your medication? And I think she'd forgotten. It didn't occur to her that she was in a bad place again because she'd stopped taking her medication. It almost like it was deleted from her memory, if I'm remembering the story correctly. And when I read that, I can remember thinking to myself, wow, this type of thing has happened to me. And I can remember a time in my life where I was totally and completely and utterly alone. All my friends have moved away and, live all over the place. Once my mother died, my family, everyone went in their own directions. And for a long, long time, nobody knocked my door. And I was in a state of total isolation. And one day I just realized I wasn't going out. What should have been obvious wasn't obvious. It's like corrupted files in your head. And once I realized that, and I realized that I was being ruled by my compulsions, it was then I started to go out and things got better. So Pure OCD, the book, is a fantastic book to read. And, it was the one I enjoyed most. It was the one I enjoyed most of all. So I think the most important book is Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts, but the most enjoyable, I think, would be Chrissie's. And anyway, that leads me very nicely on to Ozzy's book, What If I'm Gay? Now, this is a book that's been specifically written with HOCD in mind. So this is an official HOCD book. I've spoken to Ozzy. He's a great guy. And, how can I say, the book is tailor-made for HOCD, and he will guide you and show you what to do. So I would definitely recommend that. And I'm flicking through. There's another book called Stopping the Noise in Your Head, and that's by Reed Wilson. There's a sequel to Overcoming Unwanted Intrusive Thoughts called Needing to Know for Sure. That's also very good. So there's some really good reading material there for you guys. And there's a book that I've not yet read called Pure by Rose. What is it? Is it Rose Cartwright or something? Which has been turned into a TV series. Yes, Rose Cartwright. It's been turned into a TV series. And I'm looking forward to reading that. But I've also just bought the book Imp of the Mind by, and I think you pronounce his name Lee Baer or Lee BAER or something like that. But this is a highly revered book, and I'll be getting back to you guys on that book once I've read it. So there you are, guys. There's some reading material for you. And just to end the video, I'm going to go on to my other books here. I'm clicking away with this mouse. And I want to recommend a few non-OCD books for you if you're interested. There's a book here, and I'm going to be doing a video, I think, on this book. I'm going to read a few of the pages. It's The Teaching Tales of Milton H. Erickson. And there's a method in my madness. There's a reason why I'm, recommending this book, is because there's a lot of paradoxical effort, the law of reversed effect, sort of embedded within the book. And the book is called My Voice Will Go With You, The Teaching Tales of Milton H. Erickson. Right. Because I find that people have lost confidence. They've lost confidence with their OCD. And I know some guys are really shy, and some guys have become shy and like I said, lost confidence and self-esteem because of this. I'm going to recommend a couple of books, and some people may say, oh, Jesse, you're being unethical. But whatever, I'm going to suggest the books anyway. There's a book called The Tao of Steve, or The Tao of Steve, I think that's how you pronounce it, by a guy called Max Vance. It's based on the film, The Tao of Steve, and it's about basically how to pick up women. Not unethically. It just teaches you 3 very simple strategies on how to increase your confidence with women. And there's another book by a guy called Corey Wayne called The 3% Man. And that is about relationship and dating advice. It's done very well, that book. He's big on YouTube, actually, Corey Wayne. So I think that you should take a look at that. And any books on perfectionism as well, you should take a look at. But to cap off, I want to recommend a couple of my favourite authors. And if anyone's into fiction, and anyone likes science fiction in particular, there's a set of books called the Gap Sequence, or the Gap Series. And this is by a guy called Stephen R. Donaldson. And in this science fiction series, you have a victim, you have a hero, and you have an aggressor. And it's how, through the course of the 5 books, how the three of them all switch roles. The hero becomes the aggressor becomes the victim, and so on. Really good. And I think the reason why I'm recommending that is because it shows you that life isn't black or white, and that most of life is in the grey areas. And to be honest, these 3 characters, you can put them in any setting. You could put them in a Western. You could put them in any different setting. It just so happens that science fiction is the backdrop of the story and serves the story well. But they're not really science fiction books, really. It's more about the people. So I do recommend those. And last of all, I really do recommend an author by the name of Robert Greene. Now, he wrote The 48 Laws of Power and The Art of Seduction. The Art of Seduction is a really good book. And he wrote Mastery. And Mastery is a book you should really take a look at. And the very, very brilliant The Laws of Human Nature this guy is something else. And they're big books. They're not a quick read. But mastery, basically, you know, he's not trying to be Anthony Robbins here, but he has a real simple and, I don't know, different and poetic approach, I suppose, to mastering your own life with techniques that actually work. So anyway, guys, that's me done for today. Take care of yourselves, and just remember, always go and see a mental health professional, okay? Get it done. Take care, guys. Bye.